What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome to the Thomas Mott Show, a show focused on the Philadelphia Eagles and the National Football League as a whole. Everybody wants to be an Eagle, but the Eagles can't afford everybody, and yet naturally, every single Eagle Twitter person, Eagle content creator, absolutely had a cow yesterday when DeAndre Hopkins was asked on the Brandon Marshall podcast, hey, which quarterback do you want to play with? Here's what he said.
Dope quarterbacks that I would love to throw me the ball the second part of my career.
Jalen Hurts, he's Houston kid, your dog, Jalen.
Now, not shown there is that he also mentioned Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. There were other quarterbacks on his list, and so naturally the Eagle fans all go, oh my goodness, well, we had to trade for DeAndre Hopkins, free him from the Arizona Cardinals. He didn't want to be a Cardinal with Jonathan Gannon anyway, and yet the contract doesn't make any sense, as we see here on your screen. How are the Eagles affording this, right? Right now, the Eagles have about $13.4 million in cap space. Talked about this yesterday, and while in 2023, you would owe him a base salary of $19.45 million with a $30 million cap hit, right? It's fine. Howie's a cap wizard. He'll make it work. He can't make every player in the National Football League work. Oh my goodness. Listen, I get the drama. I get the fun. Oh my gosh, DeAndre Hopkins, one of the best receivers in the league. He wants to play with Jalen Hurts. It proves that Hurts is a great quarterback and everyone wants to be an Eagle. Sure, but the Eagles have a 0% chance of trading for him unless DeAndre Hopkins wants to be an Eagle so bad, he would literally sign for $3 million a year for the next 2 years, which we all know DeAndre Hopkins is not going to do. Now, so with Philadelphia basically out of the way here, he was asked about Dak Prescott, and looks like he didn't want to play with the Dallas Cowboys.
Number 5, that's a good one. That's a good question. Number 5.
Dak Prescott?
I like Dak Prescott.
Any of these young rookie quarterbacks stand out to you? Do you want to?
That subtle little head shake. He's just like, no, I don't want to say no, but no, he didn't want to play with Dak Prescott. Thank goodness, though, because Hopkins on that roster would be absolutely incredible. I mean, come on. Even Dak Prescott could find CeeDee Lamb and DeAndre Hopkins open, and I can't stand either one of those three players if they're all wearing a Dallas star. But the DeAndre Hopkins hype, it's fun. It's fun to talk about. It's really fun to be a Philadelphia Eagle fan right now because everybody would like to play with Jalen Hurts, and Philadelphia feels like they have the quarterback that everybody loves, and we haven't had that in a very long time, and it's exciting, and I get that. But you got to remember, we can't sign everybody. I know that Howie Roseman had an incredible offseason. I mean, the list of players this guy was able to bring into Philadelphia is nothing short of spectacular. I think it's one of the greatest offseasons in the history of the National Football League. The idea of DeAndre Hopkins, just because he said he likes Jalen Hurts, does not mean the Eagles are actually going to trade for him. I love Ferrari 458 Italias. I mean, I absolutely love them. Doesn't mean I'm going to go buy one for $250,000. I mean, come on, it's a little bit, it's the same thing. It's different, but it's the same thing right now. It is absolutely not going to happen, and that cap number would be absolutely incredible. What do you guys think down below? Do the Eagles really need a third wide receiver? Can there be 3 mouths to feed when you also have Dallas Goedert and these running backs, and you're trying to get Quez Watkins, you're trying to go ahead and figure out the situation with Lamar Zaccheaus? Can it work? Would you want to do it? Let me know down below in the comments section. Before we go ahead and get into our next story, be sure to subscribe to the channel as I approach 12,000 subs here. Love what you guys are doing in terms of all the comments. I love reading them. I'm trying to make this one of the best Eagles and NFL channels on YouTube. If you appreciate it, go down below and hit the subscribe button. Okay, over here to our next story. This is very funny. I made a short about this yesterday. Haason Reddick changed the entire NFL with a brand new rule. It's got to call this the Haason Reddick rule. Ari Mirov has this on Twitter, quote, NFL owners have passed a bylaw that allows teams to have a third quarterback in uniform, an extra 47th active player on game days in case of a worst-case scenario situation like the 49ers in the NFC Championship game per NFL Network. All teams can now dress 32 quarterbacks moving forward, end quote. So you read this and you go, oh, well, this is obviously because Brock Purdy situation, Haason Reddick, the strip sack, yes, but this could have been done by the 49ers last year. There was no rule saying you couldn't dress 3 quarterbacks. So the NFL teams just didn't dress 3 quarterbacks because they didn't want to take an extra roster spot away from somebody who might not play. Now, it basically gives an extra roster spot on game days to activate a third quarterback and have them dress. They can only play if the first 2 quarterbacks are injured, not if the first 2 quarterbacks are benched, but this is a rule that most NFL teams will be fine with. But don't act like you never could have 3 quarterbacks dressed on a given game day. You could, you just had to sacrifice a different position group. And so it's just funny because the 49er fans continue to whine and complain and basically say, oh, we would have beaten the Philadelphia Eagles if we could have had a third quarterback dressed that day. Oh, okay, all right. If you truly believe your third string quarterback could have come in and played defense and stopped Philadelphia from scoring over 30 points, then sure, maybe you could have won. I'm not saying it's a bad rule. It's just funny because because this is not necessarily a new rule. It's a rule that makes sense, but any team during any situation could have done 3 quarterbacks, have them dressed. It's just very unlikely that all of them would get injured. And just to be, honest, maybe you shouldn't block Haason Reddick with a tight end, but come on, that's dumb, right? That doesn't make any sense. Whatever. What are you going to do? Okay, over here to the Jeff Kerr tweet. As most NFL teams are starting their OTAs today, Philadelphia is not one of them. This is worth noting. 20 NFL teams to start OTA workouts today. The Eagles are not one of them as they start on May 30th. Now, you've been seeing some practice footage. We'll roll some of that via the Eagles Twitter account on the screen right now. These were done a little bit earlier during some mini camp work. Now, different OTA dates are, scattered throughout the offseason. You have like an OTA week or an OTA weekend or an OTA 3 days. Philadelphia having a later OTA doesn't really matter at all in terms of, getting enough reps. Philadelphia has been getting reps. They're going to be just fine. But OTAs are very light. In Philadelphia, they did it last year with Nick Sirianni. They did it the year before with Nick Sirianni. They go very easy on these guys during training camp and during OTAs. Gone are the times of Andy Reid and 2-a-days and having the toughest training camp of your life. Philadelphia wants to have these guys healthy for December, January, and February. And guess what? Last year, they were pretty darn healthy in December, January, and February. So I have no issue with Philadelphia being a little bit slower in terms of ramping things up. You want guys to take it slow. Sure, hit the weight room hard. Sure, get on the practice field and do what you got to do. But the whole idea of running them to death, the whole idea of, having to condition them, these guys are in really good shape, and they're very motivated right now. And so Philadelphia has that luxury going for them as well. I saw some people on Twitter saying, oh, we're starting 10 days later than most other teams. This is ridiculous. Or 7 days later, whatever the time is. It's not a big deal. Philadelphia will be just fine. Okay, plenty more stuff happening over the next couple of days and weeks. We got to take a look at a very interesting PFF power ranking that came out today on tomorrow's show, which gives a little bit of disrespect to, Jalen Hurts. It's not that big of a deal, but I think it's fascinating. We're looking at some other stuff on the show as well. If you appreciate the show, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I think over 48% of subscribers don't have the notification bell clicked. So if you click that, it's a great way to go ahead and be notified whenever we drop the latest short or we go ahead and drop the latest show, which happens as often as possible here on the Thomas Mott Show. But again, plenty more stuff happening next couple of days and weeks. I'm Thomas Mott. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.